Okay, hello everyone. It's great to have you all on board. It's another time with Tutor Ayo, the enthusiastic tutor, and in today's tutorial, it happens to be the continuation, all right, the continuation on the course PCR372. It's been a wonderful one. It's been an interesting one. Talked about a lot of things in the course of this taking this course, and we've spoken at length about what it means by early warnings. Okay, we've spoken at length about what it means by early warning, and in line with what we have been talking about before now, in line with it, we are going to be talking about the instruments used in detecting. All right, the instruments used in when it comes to early warning. So that's what I'm going to be discussing in today's class. I believe you are all with your writing materials. So let's ensure to take note of the comments into today's class. Okay, instruments of early warning. So for those of us who are new to the stream, let's ensure to smash like button. All right, let's ensure to subscribe to the channel as well. And the most importantly, all right, let's ensure to join our private class where we walk you through, all right, all you need to, all right, learn in the course of your program in a particular semester. So, instruments of early warning. Now, the tools for assessing early warnings comes in two ways. Okay, the tools for assessing that should be assessing early warning comes in two ways. Now, first, we are talking about collecting and analyzing. First, we collect and analyze. All right, collecting and analyzing. Second, you have the transmission or the transmission, or let's just use trans. Excuse me, I need to apologize. I've been having some serious cold, so might be experiencing some sneezing on stream. So I apologize ahead of time for that. Okay, so now, as I was explaining, it's subdivided into two. Okay, and the first part has to do with you collecting. Right? It has to do with you collecting and analyzing. And after you're done with the collecting and analyzing, then you need to transmit what you have collected and analyzed. You remember very well, we talked about taking actions then in one of our classes when we were discussing about early warnings. Talked about, if you have realized that there's a problem and everything, and if unfortunately you do not take any action, all right, there's no points, all right, for you to have noticed would have become useful. Yeah? your noticing would have become useless. Why? Because you did not take action. So that's action part is when you transmit, all right, into doing the necessary things. So we have that as that. So let's proceed. So basically, it's divided into two, all right, but the other parts too, all right. So very quickly, another model is what we call the correlation or correlational model. All right, correlational, all right, it's one of the tools as well. And here, it's a type of instrument employed, all right? It employs the use of regression to test the strength, all right, of postulated sets of causal links among variables. Now, what are we talking about? We are simply referring to the fact that the model entails the use of post-dictate testing, and this testing relies on the use of past events, strong conflicting parties to test, okay, to test casual variables, casual variables, just to know, all right, if this will ignite or spark a new conflict, all right. So we have that as that. Also, another tool here is called the diagnostic model, okay. We have the diagnostic model. Now, when we talk about the diagnostic model, the background condition that constitute the structural factors that determine the nature of grievances and the demand for communal groups, especially inequalities that are perpetrated by these discriminations and repression. Now, from the word diagnostic or diagnosed, when a friend asks you, or when you are not feeling fine, and a friend asks you, what are you diagnosed of? Or what is the cause of your illness? You want to know what the cause of the illness is. So now, this diagnostic model is very particular about the background condition. All right, background conditions. All right, that led to conflicts. Definitely, the doctor wants to know why. You can say, "Oh, I'm not feeling fine. I think it's because I had bad food poisoning." That's a symptom. But the doctor wants to know the main problem. All right. So he does his test, does his checking, and it finds out that there's a reason for this. All right. It does checking, background checking, just to know the source of your illness, not to focus on the symptoms. But that's why I say it's the background condition that led to the conflict. There are a lot more, but let's just stop at those two. Now we have something called the perspective of early warnings. Now, when we talk about perspective, what are we referring to? We are simply referring to how different persons see things from different angles, how different people or persons see or approach things from a whole different angle. Okay, so let's take some points on this very quickly. Just a moment. Now, the concept of early warning could mean different things to different people. because the term early warning is applicable in fields such as medicine, environmental management, and forecast of natural disaster. Definitely, early warnings will mean different things to these professionals in these various fields. Excuse me. Now, the use of early warnings as means of predicting the future events is not a very new phenomenon. Definitely. Now, some now some according to early warnings wordpress.com in the page 2, certain predictions have been made far back as December 1990. All right. As far back as of 1990, any warning predictions have been made. Okay. Like I said, the perspective of anyone is just talking about how individuals in different fields, okay, how individuals in different fields sees early warning, okay, and basically how they use these signs to predict, all right, certain events. Predict in the sense that notice it and they take actions to prevent them from happening. So among these predictions, all right, what may happen in next 100 years, and this was by Alfred, all right, as I beg your pardon, Ilford. That was by Ilford, um, Ilfred Watkins, all right, Watkins. 100. What are the predictions? What may happen in the next 100 years by Alfred Watkins? Okay, so he said there will be no X, there will be no C, X, or Q in our everyday alphabet. One of the predictions, there will be no streetcars, all right, within our large cities. It says all traffic will be below or high above the ground. Wow, that's some predictions there. So there'll be no traffic. All right, all means of transportation will be on air or below the ground, above or below the ground. That's some strong predictions there, if you may ask me. Okay, so we have that as that. Just a moment. Trying to sub my material here very quickly. Okay. Now, it says here, among very few of them though, photographs will be telegraphed from any distance. If there is a battle in China in 100 years ends, snapshots of its most striking events will be published in the newspaper an hour later. Now, he just give an example here. Like I usually say, on this train, we don't instigate violence, all right? Neither do we support violence. All right, but based on what Alfred Watkins, that's what, not there's no out there. Based on what Alfred Watkins saying, so when events happen, that the news and information will spread very quickly. To be a time whereby information will happen at a finger, all right, information will be gotten or distributed at a fingerprint. So these are at the fingertip, at our fingertip. So those are one of the things he said about the predictions he made. So now let's continue. It says here, gender perspective on early warnings. What are gender perspective? Now the notion of working to prevent conflict at initial level was declarative, by the United Nations, and it brought about different approaches by different stakeholders. Now, according to Hill, now he said the United Nations was conceived by what we refer to as the war-torn generation, all right, military power and everything, that conflicts could be prevented by providing a venue where political developments could be routinely monitored. All right. So because of the nature of the way things are, world power and the likes, so they thought about something. Okay, why not have a venue where we can have world leaders come together, discuss certain things, just to promote peace. Okay. So therefore, he says, so that when we promote peace, we can monitor each other's activities. Now, the debate and act now, this was debated and acted upon. The founder of this United Nations projected that early warning signs would be needed to prevent conflict. So when we come together, we discuss certain things. Early warning sign of conflict between nations or countries can be noticed and prevented easily. Now, when the Secretary Council first debated its role in the prevention of armed conflicts in November 1999, all right, as a result of this um, movement, it prevented an outburst, all right, of conflict between nations, all right. And 2 years later, Secretary General issued a comprehensive report on conflict prevention that underscored, all right, the importance of early warning and gender equality, all right. So now this nation's world leader came together, all right, without limiting this attendance to certain gender. The bottom line is just to have political development being monitored and signs of early warning can be heeded and avoided. So we have that as that. So now let's quickly talk about agencies and institutions of early warning before we call it a wrap for today. Very quickly, for those of us who haven't subscribed to the channel, let's ensure to subscribe to the channel. Very important. This is the channel we are going to be using for social sciences, Department of Faculty of Social Sciences. Let's ensure to subscribe to the channel as well as smash like button. And for those of us who have not joined the private class, let's ensure to reach out to Tutorial today on www.tutorial.net, where you find the WhatsApp button on the top right hand corner. Use the button to send us a direct message, and from there, we'll take it up from there. So, what are the agencies? So, let's quickly talk about the agencies slash institution of early warnings. Now, the very first one we have here is the SSS. Now, the SSS has a mandate. And what is the mandate? This organization was established on the 5th of July, 1986. All right. And, you hear, and SSS was as a result, okay, SSS came into existence as a result of the dissolution came into existence as a result of the dissolution of the National Security Service. National Security Service, that's the NSO. Now, its mission is to protect and defend the Federal Republic of Nigeria against domestic threat. Okay? It is to protect the nation, all right, to protect the Federal Republic of Nigeria against domestic threat. Against domestic threat. Federal Republic of Nigeria against domestic threat. So we have that. That's one of the agency. So they are expected to cite. Okay. It is their responsibility to cite. Put an end to it. Now we also have the press. Like the press historically, all right, has a very vocal and conspicuous, happens to be very vocal and conspicuous, always attracting attention. When we say conspicuous, attracting of attention. Okay? The press happens to be, all right, a very vocal and conspicuous organ of the civil society, persistently opposed to all forms of oppression, no matter how much oppression, defilement, denial, the press will always do their job. And this has played a significant role in saving the country from a lot of problems, from a lot of conflict. All right? Because with the effective communication of certain events, people can heed to early warning signs and avoid certain conflicts. Okay? So, according to what we have here, it says that the press communicates early warning signs to the government and sometimes to the public. All right? Communicate early warning signs to the government and to the public. So we have that as that. Seems like the network is pretty not stable. So we also have the police. All right, since the 1999. All right, since 1999, the police have been playing an active role in preventing, all right, in the prevention of violence in many communities. Many communities, the active effort of the police has quenched, all right, active efforts. The active effort of the police has prevented a lot of issues from happening. Okay, so we have the police. Okay, since 1999, the Nigerian police have been playing an active role in preventing of violence. All right, the police, let's just say the police, all right, playing active active role in the prevention of violence, and we can all bear witness of that. If not for the Nigerian police, the level of violence in Nigeria might even be too much for the military to handle. And basically, the military is to protect the country from external aggression, while the police is responsible for the internal, all right, conflicts and settlement of issues. So we have that as that. I think we've been able to cover quite a lot for tonight. So we also have traditional institutions. We have NGOs as well. So let's stop here for tonight. Like I said earlier, with few more classes, we should be calling in the wrap of the course. And in our next class, we'll be talking about analytical framework for monitoring early warning. So we're going to be very particular about the early warning system. Thank you very much, everyone. I believe we have been able to gain something in this class. Please let's ensure to submit our notes to our public quarters. I look forward to seeing you on such tutorials. Bye for now.